back to the Northern Wood Shop. Now for today's video, we'll be making a cutting board. Now if you look down here, I've already prepared all of the pieces I need for the cutting board. The customer I'm doing this for wants the cutting board on the bigger side, so 20 inches long, 16 inches wide. Okay, so the pieces I've chosen, they're a little more than an inch and a half wide, so the final result will be about 16.5 inches wide. Okay, so for now, because I didn't have any clamps big enough to clamp this all together once it's glued, I constructed this jig just to accommodate the pieces I cut, and once I get to the end of it here, I'll just be able to insert some wood here just to make it a tight fit, so that it's glued well together for about 24 hours. Okay, so right now, as you can see, I pre-cut every piece to 20 inches long. So this one in particular has 5 different types of wood. So we have here walnut, sapele, maple, white oak, and cherry, and then it repeats on this side. Okay, so right now, what we're going to do now is just prepare everything to be glued together. So I'm just going to put these on the sides like this, like so. Okay, I'll just grab some glue here, and also I've got these pieces of wood here, just straight wood. I'll put them at each end like so, so you don't damage your wood when it's against the jig here. Okay. So I put the glue on all the pieces. Okay. So I'm just going to put them back together like so. Okay. Don't worry about the glue, you know, on the surface or anything. We're going to sand this off afterwards, so everything will be okay. So good thing to remember when you're doing a cutting board, you need to use Tier 3 water resistant glue. Okay, so once everything's glued together, now is the time to put everything together so that it's nice and tight and compact all together. So I've got these little chims here that we'll put together in the crack here, and this will create the tension needed to make everything tight, so that there's no cracks in the between the pieces. So we've got to make sure that everything is tight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab a piece of wood here with the little hammer and just make sure that everything is tight. Okay, so this looks good, a little tight. Now, another thing to think about as well is that once it's tight, you don't want your pieces to lift up. So at this point, grab anything you can find that's heavy. Okay, just to keep it down. So I have here this coffee a can of nails, just to keep it down. I have this roll of steel wire just to keep it down, and we'll use these hammers as well, just so that it adds some weight to it, just to keep it down until tomorrow morning when we're ready to sand the cutting board. So for the time being, we're done for now, and we'll continue in 24 hours. Okay, so after 24 hours, the glue is dry. Okay, so it looks something like this. It's very rough because we haven't sanded yet. But what we're going to do now is just take the table saw and just cut a straight line on each side, because as you can see here, it's not quite straight. Okay, so we're just going to prepare this. I'm just going to put on my desk mask. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to cut a straight line on this side first. so now I've done the one cut on each side to make it straight. Now we're going to do the sanding part of it. I'm going to start off with some 80 grit sandpaper to remove a good chunk of the rough surfaces. Then I'll move up to the 100 grit and finish off with the 120. All right. I'm just going to put on my dust mask here. Okay. So we'll start off with the 80 grit. So now I'm done sanding with the 80 grit and the 100 grit. The 100 grit. So what I'm going to do now, before I go on to the 120, I'm just going to quickly spray some water on the cutting board. Just like so, just spray. Don't need to drench it, just a quick spray on both sides. Now what that does is any little splinter of wood that wasn't caught with the sanders, the water will make them stand up. Okay, so once it's dry on both sides, I'll come back and sand with the 120, and it should be really smooth afterwards. Okay, so once the water dried up, I did the sanding with the 120 grit. So right now it's very smooth finish. So now what I'll do is I'll take the router and just route the edge to give it that clean cut rounded corner. So once the routing is done, you can just grab a piece of 120 sandpaper and just hand sand it all around to make it a really smooth edge. Okay, and once you removed all the dust, we're ready now to put the oil. So I've got here some cutting board oil. So you just take a cloth, and what I'll do is I'll just spread across the board like so, and then just in a circle motion with your cloth, just like so, so that all the oil is absorbed in the wood. As you can see, all the colors really pop out. Really, really nice. Like so, and do the edges as well. Now, if you do take oil like this, cutting board oil, it is safe for for food and stuff. It's a really nice product. Just do this edge here. Just like so. Now once it's dry, I'll do the other side. Okay? And once everything is dried, I'll add a layer of cutting board wax on top of the oil, just to make it that extra coating. Okay, that's really taking shape, really nice. And that's basically it for this project. So I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe.